Trea Turner.
Yeah.
It's probably time to have a conversation. We're all talking about Bryson Stott, and he's basically worked his way to the point where you really struggle to play him. You have to kind of just look at it and say, all right, he's a great defensive second baseman. We saw that on Sunday night. We've seen that all year. He's a good dude. I still think there's a little bit of a feel for the moment, but that's kind of probably overblown at this point. Bryson Stott has a higher OPS than Trea Turner over each of their last 30 games. That's how bad Trea Turner has been. And he's been especially bad over his last 7 games, in which he's hitting 100. He's 3 for 30. He's walked only 1 time. He struck out 8 times. He has a 129 on base percentage and a 133 slugging percentage. And that comes out to 260. That's a 262 OPS. And this guy's hitting leadoff for you in the middle of a division race. And we can table the contract thing for a second and talk about the $30 million and just all that aside, just the production, it's not good enough. You cannot have this. How much longer do you ride this out where you're yeah, you're going to hit leadoff for us? I know they don't really have an alternative. I know that there's no we'll just do this instead because Stott stinks offensively, but come on. I mean, you can't have a guy running up there with a over his last 15 games, a 290 on base percentage, over his last 30, a 279. We're talking about 30 games here now. This goes back before July.
Bob, it's not good, and it's kind of one thing that no one has discussed. And you and I have been talking about it for a few days, and it was something that was on my mind yesterday. I may go down there and try and write it today, and just kind of figure out what the heck's going on there. He just looks a lot like he did that right before the whole standing ovation nonsense, right? Like that's how bad he looks right now. He's swinging at everything. He's not. I know he worked a walk in one of his plate appearances last night in that 6th inning that kind of got Schwarber to the plate for the grand slam. But aside from that, he's uber aggressive, chasing pitches out of the zone. You can see there's a lot of frustration with him at every at bat. The one saving grace for him, believe it or not, has been his defense.
Yeah.
The way he's played in the field. It's been the one thing that's kind of kept you not complaining about him because he's actually been pretty good defensively. But if he was struggling there like he had been in the 2 previous years and hitting like this, I think that people would be calling for him to be benched at this point. That's the only thing that's kept him. You're right. I don't know how you can keep that guy leading off, but do you really have a better option other than
really
Schwarber and Turner or Schwarber and Harper 1-2?
No, and look, I think you leave him there, but it's how do you leave him there? How do you continue to do this? And just to kind of give it some further context, we talk about 23 being a disaster, right? That was not the Trea Turner that you thought you were going to get. And I know a month ago we're sitting here saying, a guy probably should have been an all-star, and maybe at the time of the vote and the time of the selections, he should have been, leading the National League in hits for a large amount of the season and has improved defensively. And I applaud that he's changed his approach from an offensive standpoint and gave them more consistent and competitive at bats. The Phillies wanted him to do that, and he did it for an amount of time. But we're getting to the point now where okay, if in 2023 he was considered an offensive disaster, he finished with a 779 OPS. He's at 752 right now. And also, at one point I kind of shrugged my shoulders because he still got 11 home runs this year, so I don't want to make something out of nothing or overreact to a small sample set. But he's had 222 at bats now at home this season, and he hasn't homered. And it is weird.
Yeah,
I didn't I shrugged that off in May, early June. I said, "Oh, that's baseball." How do you make 222 at bats at home and not homer? Is there something upstairs here that's a little bit off with him, in terms of his confidence, in terms of how it's weird. This whole Trea Turner thing, we're 3 years into it now, and it hasn't been a disaster, but it hasn't been good.
No, you're right. That's exactly the best way to describe it. It's been aggravating, I think, if you're a fan, right? Because your expectation was an MVP caliber type shortstop,
a difference maker, a guy that you feel you put into your lineup and he makes you more potent, he makes you more lethal, he scares the opposition. Is anybody scared by Trea Turner?
No, that's the thing. Right now, no. And so I'm going to ask you this because Amy mentions that the announcers on ESPN were talking about it. Obviously, I don't hear that. I'm at the ballpark. You're watching it on your phone. I don't know if you were watching with the sound off because the
I've
kids
gotten
were
a lot of
asleep.
audio these last couple days.
So, but yeah, I mean, that's. I don't. He is a very perplexing character in this story for the Phillies, and there are times when you watch Trea Turner and you go, "Oh yeah, that guy's legit. That's a really top end player." And then there are times you watch Trea Turner and like, "What the hell is this?"
Yeah.
And I've never seen a guy fluctuate between extremes as much as he does, and he's really done that this year.